want to mess with it now.
Any
I
ideas?
think you don't to go off.
Right?
We are live now. Live, like Big Brother. Please do not swear. I mean, why are you on the floor? Please do not swear. I mean, why are you on the floor? Please do not swear. Forward the link to me as well.
Yeah. Hello?
Hello?
Harry?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can you hear everything on YouTube though?
Send me the link. I'll have a look now.
Okay. Can you hear everything on YouTube though? Actually, do me a favor, Harry.
Yeah.
Enter by Zoom. Let me send you the Zoom link. Enter by Zoom, not through there.
Send me the Zoom link then.
Yeah, wait 1 second.
Send me the Zoom link on WhatsApp.
It's a long story, Abdul Salam.
Yeah.
We can't fix that at the moment.
Yeah.
Harry. Harry?
Yeah.
I'm going to forward you the email. Open your email.
Okay. What email account? Haruni M, yeah?
Yeah, that's the real deal one.
Real deal.
Right, it's HAR. Okay, sent. And just click on join webinar and just confirm you can hear. But we are live, so yeah, you are now live.
And now you've gone to my bloody junk again.
Jatin, can you just confirm that you can hear everything? And I'm just going to share this screen. And can you hear on this screen? Can you just write it?
Right, let me click on the link now. 1 second. Do you want...
Jatin?
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Harry, but can you go on Zoom? Are you on Zoom?
No, but on the email he sent me, it says it takes me to the webinar registration form.
Yeah, register and just jump inside and see what you can see.
That's the link he sent me. It takes me to that login.
Yeah, go log in that.
I got to fill all this form in and stuff.
Just quickly fill it in.
Join the Zoom webinar. Okay. Okay, I'm filling it now quickly. Okay, registering. Okay, I've registered now. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, just confirm that
Launch
you can see
meeting.
the YouTube channel and you can hear everything we're saying there.
Okay, let me mute you on here then 1 second.
Yeah. Right. Okay, Harry, I think this is looking good, and I think you should be able to hear us because we should literally be starting very, very soon, folks. So those of you can hear me, those of you can see me, welcome. It's going to be an absolutely fantastic evening, and I hope you can hear me. So we're just going to do some checks before we get started. And Abdul Salam, can I just confirm if I can see the time somewhere, by any chance? Is there a way we can see the time here? And Harry is just gonna check for us to make sure that we can hear. That's the main thing. So I'm just gonna make sure. Oh yes, yes, I can see the time. You're right. My bad. Absolutely, you're right. Now there might be some people waiting in the ship itself, so Harry will just confirm for us in a moment. Harry, so can you hear me? So you can hear everything on Zoom, yes?
I think it's loud and clear on Zoom.
Okay, perfect. You're a star. Harry has just confirmed that they can hear us and everything is in good measure, which is absolutely fantastic. And I'm very much looking forward to today's event because it's going to be amazing. Now, before we do get started, if I can request everyone to just switch off their phones, I'm just going to put mine on silent, so that would be a good start. And we should literally be starting in the next. Let's have a look what the time is. It's 6:40, so we should be starting in around 45 minutes. Well, no, actually, in about 5 minutes. And I'm absolutely looking forward to this because this is one hell of an experience. For those of you who are not with us today and are not actually in the ship itself, and if you're in the Zoom meeting itself, I see Jatin is there, I see Benjamin is there, Harry is joining us twice, which is fantastic. So, you need to try to log on to directly to the ship itself. And what I'll do is I'll probably give you a link on the Zoom if you can. It'll be fantastic. Just bear with me 1 second and I'll send that through. Just give me 1 second. In actual fact, what I can do, just give me a second, is that possible? Harry?
Okay.
Can you help? I think there's a.
What do you need?
Okay, Harry, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear.
You might want to be, if you can maybe help the other students because I've made you panelists now.
Hello. Hello, everyone.
I can see we have some someone join us. Who's this here that we have here today join us? Hello, how are you?
Hello, I'm good, thank you. My
Cam,
name's
Cam, I can just about hear you. Can you just slightly, maybe you can increase your voice. I can't hear you properly.
Sure, I'll try that.
This is an amazing experience. Harry, are we all good on Zoom? Just please confirm. And if you can speak in the metaverse, Harry, that would make it a bit easier if possible. Cam, any luck?
You can hear me a little bit better now?
Kind of. It might be my volume, although my volume is set full, so it shouldn't be a problem.
I'll go grab a headset real quick, 2 secs.
Fine. That's better.
Hello? Hello? Testing, testing. I can hear you. Abdul, yeah, I can hear you. Good stuff, good stuff.
Do you think you can? I've made you a panelist on Zoom. Could you send our colleagues the link to come into the ship itself? Like Cam is here. That might be even more engaging for them rather than Zoom. Is that possible? Abdul Salam, I can hear you. Yes.
I can see that, yeah, spawn controls.
Ah, yes. Finally, we can see these spawn controls. Yes. Got it. Right, this is absolutely amazing. Okay, folks, it's exactly 6:46, so we're slightly behind. Cam, if you can kindly take a seat. Harry has just decided to stand right in front of me. And if this was actually a lecture theatre, I would absolutely get him to take a seat. So uh, that's even better. You know, this reminds me of my university days where we would kind of like, I don't know, maybe refuse to listen to our lecturer. But I think in this case, Harry has decided to kindly take a seat, which is amazing. So, folks, I just want to welcome you all here today because this is this is this is the beginning of something absolutely special that we're about to do here. And I want to first of all, before I start, I want to thank Wasim for giving this opportunity, one of the founders of Meta Visionaries. I want to thank Ehab. I want to thank everybody, including Abdul Salam, Haroon, Mariam, who has been an absolute inspiration to get this all set up. So, you know, it wouldn't have been possible without you guys. So thank you very much for doing this because I really feel that we can certainly take our education to the next level by utilizing the technology that we have. So this is for me, it's an absolute step in the right direction. So it's fantastic to have you all here and welcome. So let's briefly get into this. So let's actually move on and let's move about with some of these slides that we have here. And essentially you can all see what our vision is. And for me, it's essentially, if I was to wrap this up in a nutshell, that's making you folks the best versions of yourself and making to make a difference to patients' lives. We have a wonderful opportunity to inspire our patients and our colleagues, and this is essentially what we want. That our vision is fairly straightforward, and that should inspire probably playing about with stuff, which is fairly interesting. This is what we want to do. That was that's fine. So look, together, what I want to do is to help our pharmacists be the best version of themselves and to build a better world. And that's essentially what we want to do. Now, this is our vision. I firmly believe that irrespective of who you are, what you believe in, we should all have access to great healthcare. And that should be delivered by individuals like yourself who are inspired to wake up every single day wanting to make a difference. And this is why we're organizing these events. So Cam, again, it's amazing to have you here. Eleanor, it's amazing to have you here. We have Seamus, we have James, we have Harry, we have Farouk, we have all of you folks here. And it's going to be absolutely amazing as we start to build on this and start to build this even further. So again, this is Wasim. He is my elder brother. He is an inspiration. He's a co-founder of MEDLRN. He is one of the founders for Meta Visionaries, and I'm absolutely inspired and delighted to be here today because none of this would be possible without him. And we are absolutely about to change the entire way that we deliver healthcare training and healthcare in the world. That's essentially what we're going to do. Because I really believe that education should be nothing less than entertainment. We should all be hooked onto our education. We should all be absolutely loving what we do, and we should be able to experience education in its fullest form, and it should be absolutely immersive. And as a pharmacist, as a medical student, I can't tell you enough how much we can really utilize technology and take us to the next level. This is essentially why we are here today. And we didn't want to have too many individuals here today. We wanted to cap it to around 10, 12 people, but I can see, I'm just going to take my Oculus off, that on YouTube itself and on Zoom, we have 30 plus people. So that's absolutely amazing. Again, Farouk is one of the directors for MEDLRN. He helps me with the e-learning side. And again, this would not be possible without him. Everything that we're doing, in addition to with Abdul Salam, Farouk, Wasim, none of this would be possible. And I don't always get a chance to thank my team. But Farouk, if you are listening to this, you are an absolute inspiration. And none of this would be possible without you. And I did want to have him here speaking today. But as you can see, we're all learning, we're all playing with this ship, and we're all playing with this metaverse. So it's not been totally possible to have him here, but I did want him to say a few words. I don't think it's going to be possible today, but next time we're going to definitely get this right. So Farouk, again, look, I know you can see this. I just want to thank you. And I'm actually playing about with this. And I don't know if I can do an emoji. I don't think I can when I'm presenting. So that's a bit of a, otherwise I would love to send you something special, but I don't think I can. Right, anyway, so what is the plan? The plan is today to spend with you folks around, yes. Oh, Farouk is here. Ah, Farouk is there, yes. Uh, I don't know if Farouk can speak. Farouk, can you speak? He looks identical to me. No, I haven't changed my avatar. Pam, can you hear everything properly? Is it all working? Everything's in order?
All good, thank you.
So,
Yep.
hello everyone, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Farouk, we can absolutely hear you.
So, just let me check my
Farouk, you look absolutely amazing because you look just like me.
We are the same person.
Right, Farouk, in that case, I think Cam can hear you. If you want to give us a bit about, tell us a bit about yourself, and if you can tell us kind of like what you feel is going to be the future for pharmacy, and give us a bit of a say a bit, and let's make this memorable because it's our first time in the MetaVision. Or so let's see, how is it? What were you thinking?
Okay, I think so. Thank you for having me. So actually, what can I say that about? So I'm in more than nearly almost 20 years in e-learning sectors, and we were every year discussing about being in the metaverse since Second Life, which is another metaverse platform for running for years. So, but right now, the big guys like Facebook, Apple, and they are attending to the metaverse right now, and we are talking about being together in the metaverse. So that's why I'm really so excited being here, especially when MEDLRN and the MetaVisionary is doing things together actually. So that's which is the great things. So we are more stronger than the traditional and the e-learning science. Right now we're in the metaverse. So on my side, so I especially work for the big companies, corporate companies, for their e-learning universities in there to train their
Farouk, are you
employees.
speaking?
Yes, I am. Do you hear me? Do you hear?
I can hear you. I can hear.
You can hear me?
I can hear you both. Yeah.
Why can't I hear him now? This is interesting. Okay, Farouk, you can hear me, right? I'm not necessarily sure if Farouk is actually done speaking because I can't actually hear him. I don't know if he's done speaking. I don't want to sound rude, but
Farouk, hello. Did you have something else to say? It's just that Fahim can't hear you. I'm not getting any audio from Farouk now.
neither am I. Okay. I think what Farouk wanted to basically say is
Again,
that
do you hear me?
yes, we can hear you now,
now,
please.
Farouk. Yeah.
Okay, just wait me, okay? So, and then what was the last thing you hear from me?
You were talking about your background with universities and big corporate suppliers and the
Yeah, that's
e-learning
right.
sites.
So we were developing for them, for the corporate universities, learning management system, so on the software side, and we built up to some teams to develop their e-learning contents. So, and all of them was great opportunity to understand our e-learning sector nowadays. So it's a really huge market, not only for the e-learning content creation, but also for the software development sides and the subject matter experts. These e-learning sides is definitely the great things. And right now we are with the MEDLRN, we are helping the pharmacists to develop their clinical skills, and especially if we are used these metaverse, this starship properly, we can help the all pharmacists to develop their clinical skills in better way. What does it mean? If we use some 3D animations, 3D models with the Oculus, your glasses, it definitely will be better than 2D designs actually. So that's why this is really great opportunity to level up, to MEDLRN to the next stage. That's it. I'm here. I'm listening to Fahim right now. Thank you for again having me. Thank you to meet you up all together. That's it. I'm so excited. So sorry.
Farouk, absolutely. Thank you very much. In actual fact, I think you have adapted to the metaverse better than I have. And I think, Cam, you've adapted them better than I have because I'm still getting my head around a lot of this. And I think my ears and my cochlea, my vestibular nerve, my brain, they're still adjusting to what's exactly happening here. But essentially, for MetaVision or MEDLRN, as I explained to you, what essentially we're trying to do here is to really bring a learning experience and take it to the next level, as Farouk said. Because traditionally, in a classroom setting, there's only so much that you can do. But from human dissection to teaching you about the embryo to teaching you about how to diagnose, manage, and treat disease, I always felt that there was something that was missing. And as much as you can do a webinar on Zoom, there's nothing like doing something face to face, live, and demonstrating it. And this is going to be as close as we can get to actually demonstrating things live and taking our learning experience to the next level. I absolutely feel that what we can unlock here is going to be absolutely mind blowing. And from an education perspective, whether it's medicine or pharmacy, we can certainly do that. So let's move on a bit further and let's see what we have here. So essentially, as you know yourself, what we want to do. So today, essentially, I want to briefly introduce about how you're going to become a prescriber. I want you to also realize how you can unlock your potential and have a clear view on what we're going to do in the next coming months. That is the webinars that we intend to deliver, whether they're clinical, whether they're entrepreneurial. That's basically the plan today. Now, it's already 7 o'clock. We're just slightly short of 2 minutes. So I intend to kind of have your attention for another 13 minutes. And I understand that this is all new for all of us. So we're all learning. And at the moment, there's only 1, 2, 3. We've got somebody else join. Hello. And this is Sally. Sally, it's absolutely great to have you here. If you can kindly take a seat, that'd be fantastic. Brilliant. So as you can see, we are all getting used to this. We're all joining. And it's just absolutely amazing to see how mankind is basically changing and evolving. So let's crack on with this further. So first of all, Cam, while you're with us in the ship, tell us a bit about yourself. What are you doing at the moment?
So I'm a pharmacist practitioner. I work in a large mental health trust in the Northeast, and I've been prescribing for 5 years now.
Fantastic.
And me.
Have you any sort of experience with the metaverse? Have you had any sort of training in the metaverse?
No training, but I've had my Quest for a while, and I play games through it quite often.
Absolutely, you look like a seasoned professional, to be honest. You look like you know absolutely what you're doing. So that's fantastic. What are your thoughts on education in the metaverse? What do you think?
I think it'll be absolutely great for a lot of the reasons you've highlighted already. So that sort of interactive aspect is great. I mean, we tend to get a lot of case studies on a piece of paper, and it's literally just words on a page. Being in the environment, having that immersion, I think really brings out you in that sort of more real circumstances. Yeah, a lot more realistic.
I think you've hit the nail on the head. I mean, as I explained to you, even in my experience, medicine is an art that has to be taught with patience. You're dealing with patients as much as you're reading textbooks. That might be anatomy, that might be physiology, that might be research on some sort of dermatology or whatever it might be. There is nothing like actually getting hands-on experience. But unfortunately, given our circumstances, given your location, not everything is possible. I mean, I've spent a lot of time on human dissection. I've had the luxury of doing a lot of that in St. Andrews. But the university that I'm at the moment, we don't do human dissection anymore. It's not easy to get hold of cadavers. It's not something that you have access to. Not everybody has access to it all the time. So this is going to be the absolutely next the next experience that we're going to have, or the closest thing that we're going to have. Yes, it's going to require time. I was looking at actually. We're going to be teaching our next set of series going to be in dermatology, and I was looking at actually the kind of models that are available. So everything is still evolving. It's not exactly where I want it to go to. I have a vision in terms of where I want to take this education space, so it's not there yet. We don't have all the models to show you all the different things I want to. I mean, one area that I struggled with a lot was embryology. I think the textbooks do an absolutely great job in trying to explain it, but believe me, if you don't have access to a model or you don't have access to something to help you, you can absolutely get lost in embryology. And for folks, when I'm going to start teaching you dermatology, we are going to be starting from an embryological perspective, because I'm not saying that you need to know everything, but you need to have a good understanding of where the skin developed from. You need to understand from where the skin actually is developed, how it progresses, how you turn into the human life form itself, because that's really how you can treat. And let me tell you something now, whether it's mental health, whether it's minor illnesses, whether it's chronic condition, everything happens on a cellular level. Everything happens on a cellular level. And don't forget that we are literally trillions of cells that are grouped together that is in this life form. So this is an opportunity for us to bring that to life. So essentially, let's quickly answer some of these questions now. For some of you now, Cam, you've done your prescribing. Tell me, how did you find in terms of the whole prescribing experience? Tell me, was it easy for you to find a supervisor? How did that work for you?
It required quite a lot of bargaining with the DMP, so it was a case of him offering me something, and me offering something back. So the way I sort of sold that to him was, I'll be a better help on the wards. I'll be able to save time. It won't mean me running to a medic if I need the slightest thing changed. And sort of with that, he decided to invest his time into me, into my learning. But it's fairly easy in hospital getting our consultants to be DMPs, but I can only imagine how difficult it is in community setting.
Absolutely. It's an area we that we really struggle with. And Harry just telling me that students actually can't hear your voice. You probably can't hear his voice because you're not on the ship. So unfortunately, if you're not in the ship, you won't necessarily be able to hear the other students who are speaking, unfortunately, which is why we need to certainly ensure that next time everybody comes onto the ship, because it will be a totally different experience. But if you're not in the ship, you certainly will not be able to hear a Cam speak. The only reason you can hear me is because I'm streaming this live through Zoom and I have my cam on, but you won't be able to hear any of the other colleagues, unfortunately. So I do apologize. Maybe we should stop asking Cam questions. That might that might make it easier for us. But for all the other students who are there on Zoom, next time we need to get you guys all in the ship, because if you're not in the ship, you can't hear any of the other students engage. So Harry is sending me messages that they can't hear. Unfortunately, I can't solve that unless you folks don't come to the ship. But it's fine for now, because this is our first experience that we're all having. So certainly it can only get better. So absolutely next time we're going to have you all these seats are going to be filled. Every one of these seats is going to be filled. So there's about 30, 40 of us here, but we're going to do that. But essentially, like Cam explained, and what he basically said was that actually finding a DMP is not that easy. But in a hospital setting, it's slightly easier because you have consultants there, you have doctors there all the time. But the key thing to remember that if you would like someone to act as your prescriber, there has to be give and take. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that there has to be an exchange in monetary value, but there has to be some exchange in value. And Cam was basically explaining how he kind of built a case and said to his consultant that, look, if you allow me to do prescribing, this is what I can do for you. I can save you appointment times. I can save you, look after your caseload for you. You can start to look after more. You can start to look after patients who are more dealing with chronic conditions and so on. So there has to be that value. There has to be that value that has to be there. And I know a lot of you are getting in touch with us at MEDLRN because you're calling GPs, you're speaking with them. It's not that they're not interested. Unfortunately, what's happened is that a lot of GPs have their pharmacists, and a lot of GPs have their pharmacists in GP practice. So they don't have the time and they don't have the capacity to be able to take you on. So it's a lot more difficult now. But if you are looking to get hold of a prescriber, then you have to be relentless. You have to not give up, and you have to be proactive. So my advice to you would be that you email them. You give them a proposal in terms of how you can add value for them, and you just have to wait and see. If you're struggling to find a DMP and you've been through all of that, get in touch with us at MEDLRN and we can organize it for you. But I want to mention something else. It's not just about finding a DMP. It's not just about finding a DMP and just sitting there. There has to be something else in return, meaning that they have to give you some proper training. Keep that in mind, that you don't just want to be in a situation where you have a DMP, but there is no training in place. So that's also very important to make sure they're able to give you the right training, because if they can't give you the right training, then you're going to waste your time. And I'm sure, Cam, that you probably had the opportunity to observe patients. You probably had the opportunity to take histories. I'm sure you had to do a lot of work yourself as well, because they're not going to teach you like in med school. It's a lot of it has to be done yourself. So I'm sure there was a lot of that, but you have to be proactive. And again, all of you need to make sure that you're absolutely proactive and you have some sort of training, some sort of, what is it, the word I'm looking for, that you do have some sort of system or some sort of procedure in place. And I would say that all pharmacists need to have an understanding on how you take a history. All should know from start to finish how you take a medical history. All of you should have an understanding on how you examine a patient. And some of you might say, well, I'm not going to be examining patients on respiratory, but you're dealing with the human body. People who come with mental health patients also have respiratory. People who come with mental health will also suffer diabetes. People with minor illnesses will also have mental health conditions. So you need to be able to take a thorough history in mental health. And you need to also be able to examine all the body systems. Because remember, folks, I will tell you something now. As a student of medicine, whether you're a prescriber, as a pharmacist, whether you're a GP, whether you are training in medicine, we are not taught to deal with comorbidities. All the textbooks that you read, whether it's on diabetes, they talk about diabetes as a stand-alone subject. But these patients who present are asthmatic, they have hypertension, they may suffer from epilepsy. No textbook talks about this because we haven't actually realized how difficult it is dealing with patients with comorbidities and how that alters the human body itself. Let me say that again. You may specialize in diabetes. You may specialize in treating patients who have asthma. You may specialize in treating patients who have mental health conditions, but these patients are presenting with comorbidities. You need to develop an understanding of how asthma alters these patients and their mental health. You need to develop understanding how diabetes alters their microvascular circulatory system itself and how that alters their diabetes, their cholesterol, and so on. That's why, as a minimum, when you are dealing or doing your prescribing, all of you should have an understanding of how do I take a history? How do I examine the patient? How do I make sure this patient is safe? So even though some of you folks are going to be like, right, as long as I find a DMP, I'm sorted, your journey starts there. And I'm sure Cam will agree with this. As a prescriber, as a student, as a colleague, he will tell you that you're on a journey. This is an absolute journey. And I will also say to you that you don't have to study medicine to become good at this. You know, as a third year student, final year student, I will tell you that all the books that you study, a lot of it's theoretical. Believe me. The only reason that I'm able to recall all this information is because I'm teaching all the time. So whether it's embryology, whether it's dermatology, whether it's anatomy, physiology, the reason why I can do this is because I teach. And I can tell you that if you speak with your consultant, Cam, if you get a chance and ask him to tell me everything about embryology, he's going to say you're mad. That's something we did at med school. He won't remember. But you don't have to know everything, but you have to know about working in your scope. Let me repeat that again. As a prescriber, you don't have to study medicine to become good at this. You don't need to. You can certainly gain a great understanding and become an expert within your field, but you have to know your scope of practice. And you can increase your scope of practice. You can go beyond your scope, but you have to follow the process. Keep that in mind. I will be touching on that later on. So, in terms of how to find an DMP, I've touched on that. If you're struggling, get in touch with us. Some of you will say, I've emailed, nobody gets in touch. What do I do? You have to be proactive. Don't give up. If you need advice, just give us a call. Give us a call at MEDLRN. I'm more than happy to help you in terms of helping you find a DMP. If you can't organize it, we can organize it for you as well. No problem. Now, the next thing is, which university do I apply to? Now, Cam, if I was to ask you this honest question, yes or no, did you feel that a lot of the course itself was down to you, or did you feel it was a lot to do with the university?
Down to me. There was very little of my specialist subject actually taught on the course. The closest thing we got was neurology, literally no mental health. So a lot of that
Thank
was
you.
my own learning on the job.
So what Cam has basically said is hit the nail on the head. What he said was, for those of you listening on YouTube and Zoom, he said, Fahim, it's not the university's fault because every single one of you students will be specializing in something different. You can't expect a university to hire a consultant in dermatology, hire a consultant in asthma, hire a consultant in mental health. They can't. And there aren't enough doctors to go around. Secondly, a lot of your teachers are going to be pharmacists. And they're not experts in their fields, or they're not experts in your field. So the onus is on you and your DMP to make sure that you can develop yourself through this journey. Please remember this. In terms of the university yourself, if you think that, oh, I go to this prestigious university, it's going to make a difference, it doesn't make a difference in terms of your specialty where you're going to specialize. Yes, some universities have a course that might be more suited for you. For example, I know Salford, the course that's most of it's online. Robert Gordon's another one. I know Birmingham University are doing more of a hands-on approach. So there are certain elements that are going to benefit you in terms of cost, in terms of you may already be an alumni with that university. So there are certain benefits. But if you think that a particular university is going to help you more or less in your specialty, it's not possible. It's absolutely not possible because they're not experts in their field. So when you're making a choice about which university you go to, I would say, number one, do they have a school of pharmacy or school of medicine? The reason why I say that, because if you already have a school of pharmacy, school of medicine, then the teachers are already used to what the needs of a pharmacist or a nurse are. So that always helps. Number two, think about locality. How many days will you have to travel to the university? Okay. How many days will you have to travel to the actual the training itself? And I'm just going to have to pop back in 2 seconds because this is my first time that I have received a notification that says that your headset is actually running low. So just give me 1 second. Let me get a charger. Let me put this on charge before this turns off. Just bear with me absolutely 1 second. I'll be back. Abdul Salam, I think it's amazing. The environment itself, I have to say, it's very much in sync with medicine. We're dealing with the human body, we have space, and unfortunately, Wasim couldn't join us today, but I'm sure he'd have some input to give to us. I mean, Cam, what did you make of the space? What do you think of the ship?
It's awesome, yeah, awesome. Very roomy.
No, thank you. Absolutely. As my colleague is saying, folks, everybody in Zoom, there's 40 of you folks there. We want you all to be in the ship next time when we start the teaching itself, when we start to do our clinical webinars that are going to be starting from next week. We need you guys all in the ship. If you want to get the best experience, you have to be in the ship because otherwise there's no difference from you watching it on Zoom. Being in the ship is where you're going to get hold of all those illustrations, diagrams, we can communicate. It's going to take your learning experience onto different levels. So definitely, I'll be getting in touch with everyone who's attended today to see how you guys found it. we've got to get you folks on the ship itself. But as I was explaining to you briefly, in terms of the, please.
So I am here. I hear Fahim exactly perfectly. I hear him. I have no idea what's the other people how is hearing him.
Oh no, it's fine, no problem. Right, okay. So we spoke about how to find a DMP. We spoke about which university you go to. In terms of your expectation on a university course, look, what I would say that the university courses are designed to teach you governance around prescribing. That's what they're there to do. Everything that you learn in the university is essentially what you are going to utilize to be able to grow your scope of practice. For example, let's say you specialize in mental health. Let's say like Cam has done his specialty in mental health. And now he says, look, I want to develop my skill set in diabetes. And he has to follow the process again. He has to think about being observed. He has to think about observing and being observed. He has to think about doing case-based studies. He has to think, or case-based discussion. He has to think about developing his competencies again. He has to think about going back and learning the relevant anatomy, physiology, the condition itself. So everything you learn at university is teaching you and gearing you up for the future. So when you want to develop your scope of practice, you follow the process. Inside that car with you. So keep that in mind. Just because you have your prescribing license does not mean that you're competent in every single condition. To develop your competencies requires you everything that you learn at university to redo that again. So filling out your clinical logs, doing your observations, learning your study, observing patients, reflecting on your practice, being a reflective practitioner, all of this is very, very important. So keep that in mind in terms of what to expect from university. And yes, there's going to be essay writing, there's going to be exams, there's going to be paperwork. There's no running from that. That's academic study, that's part of it. My own thoughts are when you qualify as a professional, all the cases and all the education that we're going to be delivering is going to be very much hands-on and focused on developing your competency. I'm a firm believer that there is definitely a place for academic study. There's definitely a place for studying in that light, but there's also a very much a need for focusing on real life competency and skills. So how to fill out the application, folks? Filling out the application is fairly straightforward. When you fill out a university application, what they are going to ask for is they're going to ask for, number one, do you have access to a DMP? Number two, they're going to make sure that do you have your scope of practice well defined? And they're going to make sure that governance is in place. So that's fairly straightforward itself. So we've got a couple of minutes left before we move on. In terms of, I've gone through, I want to discuss in terms of areas that you would like to have clinical skills training on. So feedback has informed us dermatology is a big one, that a lot of students would like help on dermatology. So I'm going to start off delivering clinical webinars on dermatology. I get asked this all the time, Fahim, could you develop our skills in dermatology? Yes, we can. So my first point of call is going to help you folks develop your skills in dermatology. Okay, that's going to be the first one that we're going to start with. Then we're going to start to look at chronic conditions. It's another one. So for example, diabetes, hypertension, cholesterol, asthma. That's another one we're going to move on to help you with that. We're also going to start to look at minor illnesses. So sore throats, earaches, UTIs, and so on. And focusing on your fundamentals. How do you take a thorough history? How do you examine a patient? How do you document properly? How do you make sure that you're documenting safely? What about communication skills? Did you want to add something, Cam?
No, no, I'm just agreeing. So documentation and communication are really, really key to prescribing. Can't be understated.
Absolutely. And for those of you who can't hear Cam, Cam has just said that doing your skill set and developing your skill set in documentation, making sure you're a reflective practitioner, making sure that you are absolutely, you know how to take a history, you know how to examine, that's important. And I think Cam will definitely tell you that mental health history is so important. Getting that history, having those communication skills, being able to listen to patients is so important. Listening is such an important skill set. I can't stress that enough. And when you're working as a clinician, think of yourself as Inspector Pink Panther. And literally, what you're doing, for those of you who can remember Pink Panther, is you're a detective. And a lot of the job as a detective is listening, observing, documenting, and asking the right questions to get the right answers. So that's important for you as well, folks. So we're going to be developing your skill set from start to finish. And another thing that now that Cam has used, both from mine, mental health, is something that I feel that all pharmacists should have at least a general understanding of. All of you should know more than anything when a patient should be referred and when a patient needs help. I'm not saying that all of you should become experts on, treating depression or treating patients who are suicidal, but we should all know when a patient needs to be referred and how and to which clinician, and knowing when patients are at high risk and can need support itself. So, if we look at the time, it's 7:24. I don't expect us to be here for any longer, but absolutely all of this that you're seeing now is going to be 3D. It's not going to be like this. It's going to be 3D, which is going to be great. We're gonna take this learning to an absolutely different level. I can't wait to get that sorted. You're going to absolutely love it. So whether it's dermatology, whether it's the heart, whether it's with the oral cavity, or whether we're dealing with embryology, it's going to be very, very important. Here we've got the yolk sac here. We've got the neural tube being developed here. You've got somites here, but I can't wait to teach you this from start to finish. We're going to have an absolute great time. Look, again, I want to thank God for giving us this opportunity. I want to thank Wasim and Meta Visionaries for their absolutely great, innovative style. It's been amazing. Harry, it's been great to have you here. Abdul Salam, thank you for here. Farouk, again, none of this would be possible without you. You are absolutely identical to me. We both look the same, so that's amazing. And that's all I have for today. But in terms of starting next week, we're going to be giving you out the link, and I would like all of you to join on the ship itself because we're starting our clinical series in dermatology. So I need you all to join us on the ship and to get comfortable with this environment that's going to be fully immersive, and it's going to be an absolutely great experience. So, Abdul Salam, is there anything that you'd like to add? Absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7,
will fly us in silence, leave it all behind us. Meta visions are flying to galaxies unknown. In space we merge with science, technology with new guidance. And yeah, we travel so far away. Fly, 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 we fly through the skies. New frontiers can open our minds. No, we're not so far from our dreams. Energy brings us life. Running at the midnight, a white light, a supernova. Oh, oh. Until the twilight, the bright skies, a supernova. Oh, oh.
Absolutely.
Up to the moon. We will go beyond our reason tonight. We're going, we're going, we're going, we're going, we're going, we're going. Oh, oh, hey. We're going, we're going, we're going, we're going, we're going, we're going. Yeah, yeah. We're going, we're going, we're going, we're going, we're going, we're going. Oh, oh, hey.
Take a selfie.
We're going, we're going, we're going, we're going, we're going, we're going. Burning my fire, watch me fly higher, across the entire universe. But I still never found my feet to the ground. And I'ma be dancing on my eyes to Pluto, 'cause you know we're breaking the speed of sound. Fly, 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 we fly through the skies. Fly, 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 we fly. Running at the midnight, a white light,
Wow.
supernova. Oh, oh.
Amazing.
Until the twilight, the bright skies, supernova. Oh, oh. Up to the moon, we will go beyond our reason tonight. We're going, we're going, we're going, we're going, we're going, we're going, we're going. Oh, oh, hey. We're going, we're going, we're going, we're going, we're going, we're going. Oh, yeah, yeah. We're going, we're going, we're going, we're going, we're going. Oh, oh, hey. We're going, we're going, we're going, we're going, we're going, we're going. We're going, we're going, we're going, we're going, we're going, we're going. Fly, 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 fly. We're going, we're going, we're going, we're going, we're going. Fly, 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 fly. We're going, we're going, we're going, we're going, we're going. Fly, 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 fly. We're going, we're going, we're going, we're going.
Wow, Abdul Salam, that is amazing.
Oh,
Everybody have a wonderful evening, and we look forward to seeing you in the metaverse. We start our clinical skills training because this has been great. So thank you, Cam. Thank you, Farouk. Thank you, Abdul Salam. Thank you, Harry. Thank you, Wasim, for organizing this. Ihab, everyone who's here on Zoom. We look forward to taking education to the next level and unlocking our potential, building a better world. God bless you all and have a wonderful evening. Thank you very much.
It was a
thanks,
great
guys.
experience.
Take care.
Thank you, Fahim. Thank you very much.